I gotta just get this off my chest because this is something that's been really annoying me lately. Everything from detox tea, booty bands, you only need to do 2 workouts a week. Well, welcome to the fake world of Instagram fitness. And it's really starting to annoy me because there's so many fitness lies that Instagram keeps feeding you. And today I'm going to cut through the noise and talk about what actually works. So I'm going to get right into it. There's 4 main things that I've been seeing a lot lately that I really want to address. So number 1 is fake Insta coaches. Number 2 is the quick fix culture. Number 3 is the 2 to 3 days a week myth in terms of working out. Really want to go into that one. And then finally, number 4, my personal favorite, ex-CrossFit Games athlete selling non-CrossFit CrossFit. Well, that's going to be a good one to end with. Now, let's go right into number 1, shall we? Let's not waste any time. So fake Insta coaches. So they have no coaching history. They have no credentials. They've never been formally educated. They just look kind of cool. They look ripped, or they do anabolic steroids, and then they're selling you a $20 a month app program that you can do, that you'll get that, and you'll look just like them. Well, no, you're not, because they don't do that. I guarantee you that they don't do their own program, that they just, you can, at least nowadays, nowadays it's probably cheaper, but I know that on Fiverr, you can hire someone to develop your own custom fitness app for about 10 grand. Now, when you think about now for your average person, yes, that may seem really expensive, but when you think about a custom fitness app that is 100% built from scratch, built for you, that you can sell, and if you have like 1 million followers, well, you know, it'll make up for it very easily, just selling a subscription and then selling generic programs. Because guess what? You can also hire people on Fiverr or Upwork to develop training programs and videos and put them in there. And then you just collect cash. So there's your Insta coaches right there. And the issue is that they sell looks, not results. So they have a shredded body, and then therefore they are the expert. But do they actually know how to get there? There's a big difference between being a good coach and just a good athlete, or just a good person who just happens to look good or hot. So genetics, whatever. And what they use is they use copy and paste programs. So they have the same PDF for everyone. Believe me, I know, because I bought and downloaded some of these. There's no context and there's no accountability. It's just like, hey, let's just slap something together on a piece of paper or on an app, and boom, it should work. And when you see their Instagram also, is you only see their highlight reels, right? Is that they don't really show their struggles, their injuries, or their setbacks. Now, some do, and the authentic ones do. But for the most part, they're only, we're looking at button ab shots pretty much the entire time, and just looking hot and traveling to different parts of the world. And then they on top of this, they preach balance while living extreme. So they claim moderation, but in order to look like that, you do have to train pretty much full time and diet full time, to the point where it's borderline obsessive. And as someone who owns a gym, I know how much work it takes to get someone very fit or very shredded or gain muscle. There's a lot to it. It requires a lot of work, and there's zero science, and there's all marketing. There's a lot of buzzwords, and there's really no actual biomechanics behind it, they can't guarantee you that these fake Insta coaches can't even explain to you what a training protocol is. They probably can't even define what the difference between cardio and aerobic is. They probably can't define what the difference is between a type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers. They probably have no idea what tempo means. There's so many things that they do not do. And the reason why this gets to me is because it's dangerous. Because it's just marketing, and real people follow advice that doesn't match their body goals or their reality. They just see someone, they point their finger, and they're like, oh, I want to look like that, so I'm just going to do what they do. But the problem is, you have no context on what they did to actually get there. Now, by all means, they are fit, they look good, whatever. But at the end of the day, you aren't that person. You have other circumstances. You have probably a full-time job. You probably have kids or some other responsibility, and you're not a full-time Instagram influencer. So you can't do the same thing they do. And also, it's going to take a lot longer depending, what you're doing. And then a lot of these fake Insta coaches are using drugs on top of that. Let's be real. They're probably a lot of them are on some sort of anabolic steroid or some sort of cutter to make them look lean. And it's very common because, again, I know this because I've been in the fitness industry for the last almost 20 years. So I've seen this all the time, and I guarantee you that these people they don't even know how to coach someone in person. Like I've seen so many people who are quote unquote famous And when I see, I'll every once in a while I'll stop and I'll watch one of their YouTube videos. And I see them coaching something, like even like a banded pull-up. I saw a very popular influencer coach a banded pull-up, and it was probably the trashiest thing I've ever seen. I was like, really? It was. I don't want to get into it because I have other things I want to cover in this, but it it was mediocre at best. So fake Insta coaches. There's some good ones out there, some good coaches out there, but please follow people and take advice from people who are credentialed and actually show their losses and setbacks, and also that they have science and data and evidence to back it up. That's probably the key takeaway from that, is if the person who you're looking at or the person you admire has no evidence or data to back up their claims, then it is irrelevant, because that's how we make decisions. Number 2, the quick fix culture. Now, this has been going on since the beginning of fitness, has been kind of revolutionized in like the 1950s, 1960s. And everybody wants everything fast. It hasn't changed since the 90s with Tybo, all the way up to the Atkins diet, to P90X, to Zumba, all these things. Quick fix culture, abs and 7-day promises. It's what it is. It's unsustainable. It's misleading. And they just kind of, it's kind of going back to the fake Insta coaches, is that they are preying on what people want. Everybody wants it fast. Nobody, I mean, when was the last time you were like, you know what? I'd really like to take something, I really would like to see results very slowly. You know, I don't want to see results for a while when I work out. No, nobody wants that. I mean, everybody wants fast results. So they take advantage of that. And then they tell you that you can do it. It's like, oh, wow, I can get what I want. But at the end of the day, detox teas, wraps, waist trainers, good Lord, like all these cosmetic gimmicks have no real impact on long-term health. And again, they sell this to people because people do not make decisions based on evidence and data. You have to look at whatever you're going to buy, be like, okay, is there any kind of peer-reviewed study? What are the scientific claims behind this? And what is the data to actually back this up? And who funded the research for this, or who funded the study? Because guess what? If the company who made the frickin' product funded the study, well, of course the product's going to work. So you have to have context, and you have to look deep. You have to dig a little deeper. And yes, it's going to take some work. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to do some digging and figure out if that's something you actually want to do. And most of the time it's not. And there is no shortcut. I hate to say it. I really wish there was, but it just isn't. And then they also, quick fix culture is also about workout hats, like do this one move for fat loss instead of building a foundation. Now that, or like even better, there's claims where you could spot reduce fat around your tummy or your waistline, get rid of that fat tire around your belly. And unfortunately, you can't spot reduce fat, and a lot of the things that are boring, that people don't want to do, are actually the most effective. It's usually the things that you're avoiding the most that is going to be the most effective. And what this does is, what they're doing is they're giving you a quick dopamine hit, because people love novelty. They love the next thing. Because, I mean, when you think about it, what's really difference between your traditional low carb diet or paleo and Atkins diet? They're pretty much the same thing. Close, very close. There's some things in there, but there was Atkins in like the late 90s. And then, in the early days of CrossFit, we had paleo, and then there was like the Whole30 challenge, and then there was, there's the carnivore diet. There's all these things that really, at the end of the day, all these nutrition and diets, all they do is calorie restriction. It goes back to just a core principle, and so you're just removing a major macro, whether it be fat or carbs, and boom, you're going to get results, because guess what? You're just eating less calories, which is the key to weight loss. Now, quick fixes don't teach habits. Short-term compliance does, and then usually leads to long-term burnout, or you'll just get over it, and you just won't be able to sustain it. And the result really is frustration. People jump from program to program, and I've done this before too, where I've jumped from Comp Train to Invictus to Mayhem, and and then you get no progress, because you're thinking that, well, it can't be this simple. It can't be. There's got to be some shortcut or something that I don't know about that isn't working. And the reality is that I can't remember the actual number, but like it's up to like maybe 5,000 to 7,000 Google searches a day for health related things. And so it's not a knowledge problem, it's an execution problem. Like, we all know that we need to eat vegetables. We all know we need to eat less processed foods. We all know we need to eat more protein. We all know we need to exercise. But does anyone actually follow through on it? Well, the data says no. And So leads me perfectly into one of my biggest pet peeves of all time, which is the 2 to 3 days of work. Sorry, 2 to 3 days of workouts a week is totally fine. Now, it is when you're a beginner. That is the issue. And the problem is, I keep seeing this preached by so many people, including people who I like and people who I'm friends with. And it's driving me absolutely up the wall. It's really grinding my gears, to say the least. And the reason is because that is fine at the beginning. Two to three times a week, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Great place to start. And let me preface this by saying that a lot of people will not start their fitness journey because they're so intimidated by the climb, or they think they have to slay a dragon with their first month, because that's what they see in the movies, right? You see the Rocky cutscene and you're like, oh my God, like he's doing double unders and sit-ups and push-ups and he's working out for 10 hours a day. When really, and that is the thing that holds people back from starting in the first place, because they think they have to punch a shark in the face in order to get fit, when you can start off with 2 to 3 days a week. But the issue is that people stay there and then they start plateauing. And then that's where you have to start expanding and ramping it up. And the myth that you only need 2 to 3 workouts a week or 2 to 3 hours a week, is a complete myth. And the problem is that people believe that. They're like, oh, okay, I only need to work out that many times a week for the rest of my life. Like, actually, no. In order to get fitter, you're going to have to expand on that. And the partial truth is that it's great for complete beginners or for people restarting. But the problem is, if you stop there, you plateau. And the reality of progression is this: 3 times a week is enough to get you moving, learn the movements, and build a baseline. Even Dr. Peter Attia says on one of his podcasts, he mentioned that, you know, 2 to 3 workouts a week for about 30 minutes to an hour, he's never seen anyone make significant progress. Now, he reiterated kind of what I just said, which is it's a great place to start, but you have to do more over time. Just like anything else. Like, in order to get better at something, or to get fitter, or to get to where you want to go, you're going to have to put in more work. And then we have 4 to 5 times a week, which is where body composition, endurance, and strength changes really happen. And that is the truth. Because I started off with when I first started, I did not work out that much. I did work out maybe 1 to 3 times a week at the most. But once I ramped up 4 to 5 times a week, once I got my feet wet, things really started to take off, and I actually started to see real progress. And really, at the end of the day, when you see progress, that is what keeps you motivated to keep going, right? Like, if you're seeing results from doing something, you're like, oh my God, like I feel great, I look great, and then what? It's like, guess what? You're rewarding yourself, and you're like, well, I'm going to keep doing this, because why would I stop? Because I feel great and I look great. And then we're going on to 5 to 6 times a week, which is where we get into mastery, performance, longevity, and real transformation. Now, 3 times a week, great place to start. 4 to 5 times a week is your goal to get to. 5 to 6 times a week is where extreme magic starts to happen, and that's also where you're able to look forward to it, because you've gotten to the point where you enjoy working out so much, to the point where it's actually hard to take a day off. And I've kind of gotten to that point as well. And the issue is that fitness equals progression, not maintenance. So with fitness, like, if you're stagnating, then you're actually in a way you're kind of going backwards, just simply because as you age, you need to be putting in a little bit more extra effort in order to maintain muscle mass, hormone production. It's also a lot easier. Your cortisol is a lot higher, so it's going to require a lot more effort than when you were in your early 20s. And social media pushes this because it sounds easier, it's less intimidating, and it sells better. Because if I told you, hey, buy my program and you only have to work out for 30 minutes every other day, or only 3 times a week, and you're going to look like me, well, that is not the truth. Because in order to look like some of these people on the interwebs, you are going to either have to do some drugs and work out a lot, or just work out a lot, probably a combination of both. And the lie is that if you're serious about results, you can't stay stuck in beginner mode forever. And that's the issue, is that no one talks about that. You can start there, but you need to do more over time. And once it gets easy, that's when it needs to get hard again. And unfortunately, that is just the truth that we have to address here with this podcast. Let's move into my favorite one, the one that I was really sparked the inspiration for this entire podcast, which is ex-CrossFit Games athletes selling non-CrossFit, but it's still CrossFit. I'm not going to name any names, but because I actually kind of like them and they still put out good content. But the script they use is essentially what they use is like, CrossFit broke me. Here's my safer method that does has strength pieces, there's conditioning pieces, and it's like CrossFit, but it's not CrossFit. Makes total sense. And the hypocrisy here is that the program looks exactly like CrossFit. But what they hide is that they don't address this at all, which is the fact that when they were training for the CrossFit Games, they were training 4 to 6 hours a day, maybe even more when they were peaking. And I know that me being just an amateur CrossFitter trying to make it to regionals, I was training 4 hours a day normally. That was a very normal day for me. I would usually do a 2-hour session in the morning, usually aerobic work or strength or accessory work, depending on what my coach had me do. In the evening, I would have more strength work and then a conditioning piece or accessory work as well to complement what I did earlier in the day. And then the normal person really just needs to be there for an hour. And the issue is that it gets lumped into one thing because the CrossFit Games and CrossFit are synonymous. So therefore, in order to be that fit, you have to work out 4 to 6 hours a day or you will not be fit. And the reason why they do this is because it scares people away from CrossFit and it funnels them into their own brand. Because they're like, oh, well, I did CrossFit and I know, and in the back of my mind, I know a lot of people are intimidated by CrossFit. So I'm going to take advantage of that and be like, hey, as someone who's done CrossFit, and I know you want to do CrossFit, but I have something more your speed that's better. And for some people, yes, that is better, but that's not my issue here. My issue here is them preaching how CrossFit broke me and how, I was burned out. I did all this. I mean, but bitch, you were training 4 to 6 hours a day. Of course, I got burned out from that, and I wasn't even as good as you. So imagine being at 10 times fitter than me, and I got burned out. You for sure are gonna get burned out. And the damage is that average people think regular CrossFit is unsafe when it's not. And the irony is they built their fame and following on competing in the CrossFit Games and doing CrossFit and working out 4 to 6 hours a day. And then they essentially bite the hand that fed them. And the reality is that it wasn't that CrossFit that broke them. It was the elite level training, which is not sustainable over time. And CrossFit was not originally designed for that. The original CrossFit program came out like years before the games even started. And it was just a fitness program. And a lot of the workouts, and to this day, they still post workouts on CrossFit.com. A lot of the workouts look pretty lame, but guess what? They're not going to break you. Like, for example, when I first started CrossFit, if there was like a 5 sets of 5 deadlift day, that was all you did. Like, I went into the gym, did my 5 sets of 5, but every set was tough of deadlifts, and I was done for the day. Next day, I would do like Fran, 21-59 thrusters and pull-ups. Then I was done. Then I would do like Grace, 30 clean and jerks per time. Then I was done. Like my workout, including warm up, was maybe 45 minutes at the most for a lot of this. And the reality is you can't live at your peak forever. Like games training, the CrossFit Games and CrossFit are both completely separate because there's one that's the test of the greatest CrossFitters in the world and seeing what they can do and pushing them to the absolute limit to test what the fittest are actually capable of. And it's very inspirational and nothing against the games. And then there's CrossFit, the methodology, completely separate for the average person or the everyday person or someone who just wants to be functional. That is essentially what the core of CrossFit really is. And the games is more like a showcase of what peak human performance actually is. So let's recap the biggest lies here. So fake coaches selling PDFs, avoid those at all costs. Make sure you're making decisions whenever you buy something online that you're making it based on evidence and data. What do they have to back this up? And then finally, quick fixes that never fix anything. That we all know this, but I think it's really easy to fall trap into this, especially if you're new to fitness, because everyone sees the bright, shiny object or the new thing, and they think that that is going to be the silver bullet that's going to make them the fittest that they've ever been or give them the body that they exactly want. When it's not a silver bullet, it's going to be 100 golden BBs. And then the 2 to 3 days a week myth, that's great for beginners, but over time you have to ramp it up. And people who keep pushing that are wrong because yes, is that good enough to get started? Is it good enough to restart? Absolutely. But you need to expand in order to actually get fitter. And then finally, we have X Games athletes rebranding CrossFit in their own special program and blaming it for their own overtraining, essentially. And so we have to reframe fitness. It's just consistency, progression, community equals lasting results. And thank you so much for listening. If this was helpful, do me a favor, leave a review, share this with a friend. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, good luck, have fun, and nailed it.